I'll have a vague idea of what the turning project's going to be when I start. But actually, more often than not, I pivot. As I'm familiarizing myself with it, I just let the intuition take over. I guess you could call it letting the wood tell me what it wants. And I know that sounds hokey. And all those great artists talk about finding the shape already inside their medium. And I've laughed at that myself, wrote it off as being a snob. But as I've turned more and more wood, I understand what they're saying. It's not some sort of mysticism or anything. It's just that the wood is resistant to doing something it was not intended to do. And it's best to work with its natural inclination rather than fight it. Oops, I forgot to roll up my sleeves here. Don't try this at home, kids. Luckily, not too much later, I catch myself and roll them up. Long sleeves and 600 RPMs can be a very bad combo. Turning is like rolling a snowball downhill. You start slow, but you quickly build momentum. This sweet gum wood is pretty fun to turn. It's soft, and I guess some termites have worked it over pretty good, so it comes off in nice big shavings. I love this threaded insert for my tailstock. It lets me measure my tenons exactly without having to use some calipers or something. The skew chisel cleans up the surface, but more importantly, it puts a dovetail shape on my tenon to help the jaws hold. CA glue is a great way to strengthen a tenon. The other great thing about this insert, it takes away any guesswork when centering your piece on the reverse mount. Yeah, so it turns out I didn't give my tenon enough material, and it split when expanding the jaws. I'm starting to think the jumbo jaws were too big for this piece. Lesson learned. I press on anyways, and strengthen the tenon further with CA glue on the outside as well. This has become my reverse mounting process of choice. It's just so easy. I even use the tailstock to hold the faceplate in place while I unscrew it. This way it won't fall off and clank onto my ways. It's around this time that I realized I made two mistakes. First, I should not have used the jaw chucks to mount this. It leaves me no room to taper the bottom, and I want this piece oblong, so it's starting to look more like a bullet. Secondly, I should have drilled out the pith before getting this thing in shape. It's essentially impossible to clamp it without an aid of some sort of crazy clamping jig that I don't have the patience to build. Sorry, but I forgot to record this the first time. I drilled out the piths and filled with resin. This is the second go-around since I used Alumilite without the pressure pot, and it became just a foamy mess. I'm currently drilling that out. The second time around I used West Marine Epoxy, and the results were much better. That gunky rim you might have noticed is hot glue to keep the resin from running too much. I think I'm going to switch to silicone instead. My bowl gouge chips out the resin pretty bad. So on the resin portion I switched to my carbide cutter with a negative rake. It's slower, but it also doesn't chip it out. I also come to realize later that I want the pith circles to be more in the center of the piece. And right now they're occupying the bottom third. So the top part of the vase needs to be shaved down. I guess all of this is to say the whole intuition approach is fine and dandy, but you got to be willing to put in some extra work when you have to make some adjustments on the fly. Yep, that's exactly what it looks like. A hammer with a piece of sandpaper glued to the end of it. As woodturners, can we just all agree not to look inside each other's hollow forms? It's kind of rude. I give up trying to get this thing smooth eventually. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, hit that subscribe button.